The trailer for Tom Holland's fourth Spider-Man movie, Brand New Day, has just been released. The film is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton and it's written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. It feels like it's been a very long time since the last Spider-Man movie in the MCU, and it has been. I mean, it's been 5 years since No Way Home. The MCU was already, I think, in decline at that point, though No Way Home was certainly one of the positives during that era. But that was certainly, post-Endgame period, and there wasn't an awful lot to shout about around then. But I do have reasonably high hopes for Brand New Day. The Spider-Man movies are among the stronger entries in the MCU, and this film looks like it aims to get back to the web slinger's roots. No Stark technology, just keeping it a bit more grounded and focused on Peter Parker being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, saving people in New York City, perhaps a little bit closer to some comic book source material. Following the events of No Way Home, the entire world has, of course, forgotten about Peter Parker, so his secret identity is secret once again. Even his former girlfriend, MJ, doesn't know him. So this one looks decent, actually, I have to say. It does. What I think the Spider-Man movies do well is that their stories are so strongly character-focused, and you've got a likable protagonist in Peter Parker, and his story usually revolves around the challenge that he faces in balancing being Spider-Man versus the impact that he has on people he cares about and trying to navigate normal life. This story picks up a few years later. Peter seems to still be missing his old life with his former girlfriend MJ and his friend Ned. I kind of wish that they'd moved on from those characters and that era and just permanently closed the door on that period of his life, because Doctor Strange's memory spell allowed for that. That the door could have been closed, but instead they've brought these characters back and made Peter's personal story about missing them and pining for MJ and failing to move on. Whereas I really liked the end of No Way Home because it was a very selfless act to give up his girlfriend and his best friend and to do something, truly heroic there. And I don't think that it's especially believable after so many years that, he's still in this state of grief. I think it would have been stronger and more heroic a stance for him to just own the decision he made and simply, let go of the past and just focus on being the hero. But, they could have just brought in new characters, new friends and a brand new love interest. Instead, he's still awkwardly hovering around and haunting and practically stalking his old friends like a ghost. I think it kind of weakens him a little bit. I think it makes him slightly, needy and pathetic, to be honest. I don't know if the original plan post No Way Home was to move on, or whether they decided to backtrack and bring back Ned and MJ. But yeah, it just kind of feels like a sort of failure to fully commit to that really strong ending from the end of No Way Home. Anyway, Punisher is in this film, played by John Bernthal, and Michael Mando returns as McGarrigan, aka Scorpio. That character was in Spider-Man: Homecoming, which of course was the first film in this Tom Holland Spider-Man film series. Peter is undergoing some kind of transformation in this film. His powers seem to be on the fritz, so he goes to see Mark Ruffalo's character, Bruce Banner, for some science-y advice. So I guess he conducts some tests on Peter. There's some talk in there about his DNA is mutating. Isn't that pretty much all that DNA does in superhero movies? I'd be surprised if DNA didn't mutate in a superhero movie. It appears the threat in this film can sort of take over people, and that threat could very well be Venom. At least that's where a lot of people's speculation is leading to. Peter's got some black eyeballs here, right? So has he got some new abilities? Is he being taken over by Venom? I don't know enough, to be honest. I will confess. I don't know enough about Spider-Man comic book lore beyond the basics to be able to tell you what's happening. I watched the cartoon in the 90s. He seems to be developing new abilities. If it is Venom, I'm kind of surprised that they'd be doing that, especially considering there's been 3 Venom movies relatively recently. The Venom movies starring Tom Hardy. I'm kind of surprised they would do that. The Venom movies are still very fresh in people's minds. The most recent Venom movie was Venom Last Dance, which of course came out in 2024. But I could be wrong. The other theory is that this could be Man-Spider, which was a mutated form of Spider-Man. And it looks like that could be the transformation that's hinted at in this trailer. So yeah, it could be Man-Spider. I'm wondering if Mark Ruffalo is also going to be playing Hulk, or is he just going to be Banner in this movie? Is he just going to be Bruce Banner? Yeah, I'd like to see Hulk come back. I will say, just as an aside, I'm not really a fan of Professor Hulk. I think the character is just too neutered. I do prefer the mindless rage monster, to be honest. But there you go. As trailers go, yeah, it does the job. It's a good teaser trailer. Action looks compelling enough. I'm not totally sold on Peter's arc. Again, if it's primarily about him being this broken loner mourning the loss of his old life, I don't think that's a great place to find him in. But anyway, the MCU definitely needs a big hit with this movie. Disney Marvel have the big one coming out in December, 9 months away, Avengers Doomsday. So this is mainly a standalone story, but I don't know if they might add in some connective tissue there or a coda to tie into Doomsday in some way, maybe a post-credit scene to help set that up a bit more. I suspect if this film is successful at the box office, it would provide the much needed momentum for Doomsday. The franchise certainly needs a big win after the 3 financial failures of last year: Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four: First Steps, all underperforming at the box office. I have to say, I would not be surprised if Brand New Day ends up being a better movie than Doomsday, because Doomsday has so much stuff going on, all this multiverse chaos and so many characters and probably a lot of exposition in order to explain how all the different universes and things work out and all the time travel stuff. Whereas I think this film will probably have a simpler, easier to follow story. And of course, it's more focused on one central character. So I think this is going to be a more coherent story. And like I say, the Spider-Man movies tend to be among the stronger MCU entries, especially in recent years. Ultimately, this Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer looks decent, certainly encouraging, and the film is due out in July. But yeah, I'll wrap it up there, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Looking forward to your comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, hit the notification bell to be notified of future updates as well. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.